I would say we're back for another interview. Today with one of our favorite lads, if I may say so, Grizz. Hey, welcome.
Hello.
So, I think you're most known for, well, first of all, the Cheers Mate emote. I want to say that's a fantastic emote. But seriously, you're most known for, I think, Sands of Time speedrunning, as well as like the trilogy in general. Were these also the first games you played casually? Like your first, or do your first memories relate to a different pop game you played?
The first pop game I played was actually Sands of Time, which was technically my first game, because when I originally got the game, it was on PlayStation 2. My dad owned a PlayStation 1, my mom owned a Sega Mega Drive, and then I was gifted a PlayStation 2 on Christmas, and with it came Sands of Time and Finding Nemo. So the first game I played was, of course, Finding Nemo, but my first actual completed game from my own collection was Sands of Time.
Okay. So, I assume you followed that up with the other games from the trilogy eventually, or how did you?
I played Warrior Within the year after straight away. Didn't actually play the Two Thrones until I got my hands on a Wii, and then played that Wii version, which sucked. But ultimately, I've played the Sands trilogy on and off since it came out, because it's one of my all-time favorite games.
Okay. So, did you also play the classics or the more modern games, 2K8, Forgotten Sands, or are you like exclusively on the Sands trilogy?
I attempted 2K8 because I was going through a Prince of Persia dry spell, so I got it on the 360, tried playing it on there, didn't really complete it. Forgotten Sands, again, played that on release as well, never completed it. Sands trilogy all the way for me. Haven't played any of the classic Prince of Persia games, like the Apple versions and everything like that, Pop 1 through 3D. Never played any of those, but I'll get around to it at some point.
Eventually, maybe.
Eventually, maybe, yeah. Like I've maybe eventually got to get around to T2T zipless at some point.
Your backlog of maybes is getting longer. Right, so this was your casual experience, and at some point you did find out about speedrunning. When was that? And was that related to Prince of Persia, or just a whole different game altogether?
Well, I kind of knew about speedrunning in general because, like just through the grapevine kind of stuff, people running games to ultimately complete them as fast as possible. Didn't really understand the concept back then. But I had found something, I found GDQ and was starting to look through a couple of videos of that. And then I found the greatest Prince of Persia speedrun of all time, Hanajo's any percent run of Sands of Time. And I got hooked on speedruns after that. Getting into speedrunning, I was casually playing through Sands of Time again on the PC. And I was watching Hanajo's zipless run, and ultimately started just copying what he was doing, trying to emulate what he was doing on the live VOD of his GDQ zipless run, and just kind of stuck with it from there, and ended up running that thing full time.
Okay. So that's also when you joined the community, I assume.
Not too long after that. It was during my first run that I kind of needed a little bit of extra help, so I ended up joining the community after that, joining the Discord, getting on SRC, and just fitting in quite easily, to be fair.
So, out of the pop games you know and have run in the past, what would you say is your favorite game and or category to run? Like, what's most fun to you?
Sands of Time, any percent zipless. It's a really fun category. Easy-ish category to pick up and memorize. It's got a lot of different glitches, a lot of different tricks in it. It's just an interesting run start to finish in terms of what you do in the game to beat it and how quickly you can beat it in terms of what you do with the game. So I'd say that's probably one of my most favorite runs of the entire Prince of Persia franchise.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Zipless is very, like, on the one hand, very versatile when it comes to the glitches being used or skips being used. And on the other hand, you can really adjust the difficulty to what you want it to be. You can go all out or just, have a good time with it, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously Zipless in itself has a lot of complicated skips and tricks, no matter what category you're doing, but there's always not necessarily beginner friendly, but like the casual speedrun experience for it as well, which is really just fun to do for fun, really, because it is an enjoyable category and it's an enjoyable game. And because of that Zipless category, you still get to play the game in a way as well. So you're not just doing like a single glitch to get past, like completely arbitrarily ruin the game. You're still playing it in some form and kind of helping yourself along through certain areas just with a few small glitches.
Subtle shots fired at zipping right there. Like,
of course. I mean, zipping is cheating in anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That's factual, yeah. So, could you pick a favorite technique or skip from pop speedrunning? Either one you do yourself or just you enjoy watching?
The one that I enjoy watching, zipping while it is cheaping, it is interesting to watch because you're skipping so much of an area. So if you know the game, you can see exactly how much is being skipped by doing this one random glitch. But in terms of like the most enjoyable trick to perform, I would say probably either ledge storage or teleporting with first person on the box, because you get to see a teleport happen and know how it works to perform the trick and stuff. So I'd say that's quite a rewarding trick to pull off in a way.
Yeah. So do you... This is a difficult question, or this is a mean question now, but is there a memory that comes to mind related to pop speedrunning that you hold dear, that if you think back on and you're like, this was really cool?
Any percent zipless segmented speedrun, the Hall of Learning door clip. Hall of Learning Courtyard door clip. That grind and ultimately achieving that segment will forever stay in my memory.
Right. So for those who don't know, we did that for ESA 2018, I believe it was. Segmented run. And I think back then you were like relatively new to the community.
I think I was 6 months into my stint with the community. Yeah, because I started that year, essentially. I started speedrunning in 2018. End of 2017, beginning of 2018. So leading up to that, I was still a baby speedrunner at the time. And yeah, doing one of the hardest things to do in that game, which still isn't really done in the world record run, it was a hell of a time. So let's just leave it at that.
Right, yeah.
Please let me have that memory erased.
No, you were either courageous or naive enough to let yourself get talked into that.
Very naive. I'll go with that.
Okay, so maybe as a final question, what other games do we speedrun, or what other speedrun communities are we active in? If
Winx Club and Garshasp. Two very unknown speedrun games. Garshasp, basically a dead game at this point. Winx Club, need I say more? I run some very weird stuff.
Well, I like how this whole interview, we did not once talk about the game you ran at PoPRuns 2019. Final word you want to tell us about that, maybe? Don't even know how it's pronounced, like Battles of Skirmish? How do you even say that?
Battles of Prince of Persia, a Nintendo DS game that has no relevance to Prince of Persia whatsoever, other than the fact that it shows a prince in a DS format. Is that what you needed?
Right. I meant the like you only ran one mission, right? At PoPRuns 4.
I ran a skirmish mission, which was basically it's basically conquest through. I can't even remember the game that well, to be honest. It's been that long since I played it. It's like kind of want to say a bit tower defense-y in a way, where you have your units, you move units around a chessboard in a way, and you just basically clear the map, and that's how you win the game. But I ran that because I was baited into it by a racer, because I let myself get baited into games that is too stupid for me to run. I am a very naive person. Either that or a racer's incredibly persuasive, which I don't think that's right.
Well, that's a good question for sure, but to me, you will always be the best Battles of Pop runner in the whole world.
The only Battles of Pop runner in the world. Actually, no, that's wrong. I think there is one other runner on that.
Red Death is like French guy.
Yeah.
Mr. No last name or whatever his username is.
Yeah, and he did it on a phone emulator as well. So, which respect for going above and beyond for that kind of emulation.
All right, then I think that's all the time we have. And I also hope Olga is ready by now with the next run. It has been 10 minutes, guys. What are you doing? Like, how much longer do you need? So, yeah, thanks a lot to you, Grizz, for your time.
Thank you, Zilka, for speaking to me.
Sure thing. And next up is some run, I hope. Maybe.